Good morning. Here is your daily dose of complete health with your local chiropractor, Patrick Hogg. I was watching a really interesting documentary yesterday on Netflix called Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge. Now, the point of the documentary was to demonstrate the most up-to-date and scientific cutting-edge technology within the medical profession. Now, interestingly enough, it was all about what happens when these procedures have not been properly tested. There were a few different examples. The ones that I managed to watch yesterday was one about the Da Vinci, which was a robot that was used for surgery, one about something called Eastbourne, which was a female sterilization technique, and there was a certain type of prosthetic hip. Now, all of these things had major complications in a large proportion of the people that were given these things, despite the fact that they were backed by science. Now, interestingly enough, with medical stuff, especially technology as opposed to drugs, because drugs are consumed, they are very heavily regulated by the FDA. And so they'll have to go through stringent testings of multiples of thousands of people, whereas a lot of surgical procedures, they don't have to have the same study types to consider using these components on people. So what they basically found is that with a lot of these people, the studies had only been done on about 50 to 100 people. Of those people, they were not necessarily directly sick or had direct complications in the matter of short periods of time. But what they started to do is, as they followed up with a lot of these clients that had these technologies in their body, they were getting progressively worse. So the E-Shore, which was the female sterilization technique, actually resulted in most people having it, ending up having to have further surgery to have a hysterectomy and remove a load of the metal that ended up in their uterus as a result of this product. Again, with the replacement hip, what started to happen is the company had designed metal bearings, so the metal was bearing onto metal, was causing very small microfilaments of metal to get into that person's bloodstream and was causing neurodegenerative and autoimmune responses. People that were using the Da Vinci robot, this was actually a robot that was designed for doctors to do surgery with. It almost looks like a VR headset, and these guys use this robot in order to be able to actually see inside, and then almost like with their own tiny minuscule hands with pincers, perform very minute surgery, which was great in certain cases. But what they actually found is it took a doctor about 200 cases before they were proficient in using these products. So why am I talking about this? Well, surgery has its risks, just like every single type of therapy on the planet. However, when we start looking at drugs and surgery, our risks all of a sudden start driving up a lot higher of having side effects and complications later down the line. And so when you start looking and you realize what's going on with these things, would there be a better way that these people could have controlled a lot of their problems had they started thinking about managing these problems earlier on? So one of the things obviously being hip replacements. A hip replacement costs on average about £15,000 on the NHS. And I think they've actually managed to get it between somewhere in 10 and 15 nowadays, but it's still a lot of money. And when you equate that to how much time someone could spend with a physiotherapist, or how much time someone could spend with a chiropractor, or how much time someone could spend with a massage therapist or a nutritionist, that is a lot of time spent with a therapist trying to find alternative solutions where people can start looking at their diet, their exercise levels, their rehabilitation, their overall physical well-being and their mental well-being. And what we know, and then, by the way, the World Health Organization this is what they define health as: complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not the absence of disease. So by trying to obliterate problems with technology that isn't always going to work, maybe the solution isn't always in the technology, and maybe it lies within the lifestyles that we're choosing to live. Just a little bit of food for thought. What thing could you be doing that might prevent you from having to have the cutting edge technology, which may work, but equally may lead to just as many complications. I can certainly say for a lot of my clients with stuff like prosthetic knees, prosthetic hips, there's a lot of people that get really good results, but guess what? There's equally a lot of people that don't. Patrick here from Complete Health. This is your daily dose. I'll speak to you guys again soon. Take care for now.